When the twins arrived at their new school, they knew it wasn't going to be easy, but they never expected a gang of bullies would come for them so fast, or that those bullies would regret it the second they threw the first punch. This is the story of Malik and Jamal, two brothers who walked into a school where they weren't wanted, and walked out with the respect of everyone who ever doubted them. But the road to getting there? It wasn't just about fighting back. It was about something far more powerful. Stay with me, because this story will leave you cheering, and maybe even remind you why kindness and courage always win in the end. Oh, and before we begin, drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more real-life stories of hope, heart, and heroes who didn't back down. Now, let's begin. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the quiet suburban streets of Crestwood, a small town where white picket fences and manicured lawns were as common as the unspoken rules that kept everything and everyone in their place. Malik and Jamal Carter stood at the edge of the school parking lot, their backpacks slung over their shoulders, their dark skin stark against the sea of white faces that turned to stare. Whispers slithered through the air like snakes. Are those the new kids? Why are they here? This isn't their kind of school. The twins exchanged a glance. They had heard it all before. Their mother, Ms. Carter, had warned them. It won't be easy, she had said, her hands gripping the steering wheel tightly as she drove them to their first day. But remember who you are. Remember what you've trained for. Malik, the older twin by 3 minutes, was the quieter one, observant, his sharp eyes missing nothing. Jamal, on the other hand, wore his confidence like armor, his smile easy, but his fists always ready, just in case. Their father, a former Marine, had taught them discipline. Their uncle, a martial arts master, had taught them how to fight. Not to attack, but to defend. A true warrior knows when to walk away, he had told them, but he also knows when to stand his ground. As they walked through the double doors of Crestwood High, the whispers grew louder. A group of boys leaned against the lockers, their smirks sharp enough to cut glass. At the center was Brad Hastings, tall, blond, and the self-appointed king of the school. His family had money, influence, and a legacy of making life miserable for anyone who didn't fit in. Brad nudged his friend, nodding toward the twins. Look what the cat dragged in. Jamal kept walking, but Malik felt the weight of the stairs, the tension thickening like storm clouds. A locker slammed. A voice sneered. You lost, new kids? Brad stepped in front of them, blocking their path. His blue eyes were cold, his smile mocking. This school's got standards. You sure you belong here? Jamal met his gaze, unflinching. We're right where we're supposed to be. Brad's grin faltered for half a second before he recovered. We'll see about that. The bell rang, scattering the crowd, but the threat lingered in the air like smoke. As the twins headed to class, Malik clenched his fists. This isn't gonna be easy. Jamal smirked. Since when do we like easy? Little did Brad and his friends know. They had just picked a fight with the wrong twins. The whispers didn't stop. If anything, they grew louder. Every hallway Malik and Jamal walked through felt like a gauntlet. Eyes followed them. Laughter cut through the air whenever they passed. Brad and his crew made sure of it. At lunch, the twins sat alone at a corner table, unpacking the sandwiches their mother had made, turkey and cheese, their favorite. But before Jamal could take a bite, a shadow loomed over them. Oh, look, The twins brought their little lunch. Brad sneered, flanked by his friends. Without warning, he snatched the sandwich from Jamal's hand and tossed it to the floor. Oops! Jamal's jaw tightened. His fingers twitched, but he didn't move. Malik placed a hand on his brother's arm. Not worth it. Brad laughed. Yeah, listen to your brother. Know your place. The cafeteria erupted in snickers. The twins said nothing. They just stared, cold, unshaken. Brad didn't like that. The next day, it got worse. As Malik opened his locker, a cascade of crumpled papers spilled out, slurs scribbled in bold, ugly letters. His stomach twisted, but he didn't react. He simply picked them up one by one and tossed them in the trash. Jamal wasn't so lucky. During gym class, Brad accidentally shoved him into the bleachers. Jamal's elbow scraped against the metal, drawing blood. The coach, a tired-looking man who had long since stopped caring, barely glanced up. Watch your step, Carter. Jamal wiped his arm, his dark eyes burning. Yeah, I'll watch it. Brad smirked. Problem, new kid? Jamal took a deep breath. No problem. But the storm was coming. That afternoon, as the twins walked home, a car slowed beside them. Brad leaned out the window, grinning like a predator. Hey, losers! Need a ride? Malik kept walking. We're good. Brad's smile dropped. I wasn't asking. The car door swung open, and two of Brad's friends jumped out, blocking the twins' path. Get in, one of them growled. Jamal's pulse roared in his ears. Or what? Brad's eyes gleamed. Or we make you. Malik exhaled slowly. Jamal, walk away. But Brad's friend shoved Malik hard, sending him stumbling back. Something inside Jamal snapped. The first punch was a blur. Brad's friend didn't even see it coming. 1 second he was laughing, the next he was on the ground, clutching his nose. Silence. Then chaos. Brad lunged, swinging wildly. Jamal dodged, his body moving on instinct. A sharp kick to Brad's knee sent him crashing down. The other friend charged, but Malik was ready. A quick twist of the wrist, a shift of weight, and suddenly the boy was on his back, gasping. Brad scrambled up, his face red with rage. You're dead, he screamed, charging again. Jamal sidestepped, grabbed Brad's arm, and flipped him onto the pavement with a thud. Breathing hard, the twins stood over them, fists still raised. Brad's eyes widened, not with anger, but with fear. You, Jamal leaned down, his voice low. Yeah, we fight back. And with that, they turned and walked away. News spread fast. By Monday, the whole school knew. The twins who kept to themselves? The ones everyone thought were easy targets? They were black belts. And Brad? He didn't show up to school that day. But the twins knew this wasn't over. Some battles end with fists. Others end with change. And change was coming. The school buzzed like a hornet's nest. Brad Hastings, untouchable, arrogant Brad, had been humiliated. And by them, the new kids, the ones no one expected to fight back. Malik and Jamal walked through the halls that Monday morning, the whispers now laced with something new. Fear. Students who had laughed at them last week now avoided their gaze. Teachers watched them a little closer, as if waiting for them to snap again. But the twins weren't looking for another fight. They just wanted to be left alone. Brad didn't return to school for 3 days. When he finally did, he wasn't alone. His father, a tall, broad-shouldered man with the same cold blue eyes, marched into the principal's office, demanding consequences. My son was assaulted. Mr. Hastings slammed his fist on the desk. Those boys should be expelled. Principal Higgins, a balding man with wire-rimmed glasses, sighed. He had heard the rumors. He had also heard the other side, the part about Brad's relentless bullying. "Mr. Hastings, there were witnesses who say your son and his friends instigated the altercation," Higgins said carefully. "That's a lie," Brad spat. But the truth had a way of slipping out. At lunch, something unexpected happened. A quiet girl named Emily, one of the few students who had never joined in the taunts, walked up to the twins' table and slid a note across it before hurrying away. Jamal unfolded it. "I saw what Brad did to you. If they try to expel you, I'll tell the truth." Malik looked up, but Emily was already gone. For the first time in weeks, the twins didn't feel so alone. The next day, Principal Higgins called an assembly. The gymnasium was packed, students murmuring as the twins were called to the front. Brad sat in the front row, smirking, certain this was the end for them. But then Higgins did something no one expected. He turned to the crowd and said, "This school has a bullying problem, and it ends today." Silence. Then, one by one, students stood up. Emily, a freshman named Jake, who had been shoved into lockers for being small. Even some of Brad's former friends, their guilt written across their faces. They told the truth about the slurs, the threats, the way Brad had made life miserable for anyone who didn't fit in. Brad's face turned red. "They're lying!" he shouted. But no one believed him anymore. In the end, Brad was suspended. His father stormed out, vowing to sue, but the damage was done. The school had changed. The twins still walked the halls quietly. But now, when they passed, students nodded in respect. Some even smiled. And one day, as they left school, Brad, now alone, his friends gone, glared at them from across the parking lot. Jamal met his gaze. "You got something to say?" Brad opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time, he had nothing. That night, as the twins trained in their backyard dojo, their uncle watched with pride. "You didn't just win the fight," he said. "You won the war, without throwing a single punch." Malik wiped his brow. "We didn't do it alone." Jamal grinned. "Nah, but we started it." And as the sun set over Crestwood, the twins knew one thing for sure. Some battles aren't fought with fists. They're fought with courage. And that changes everything. Thanks for watching.